समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है, अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या समझ में नहीं आया?
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है, अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
अब समझा।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
Prime Minister Modi has met with those injured in the Delhi Red Fort blast, this ahead of a cabinet committee on security. Investigators are looking at what's being called a white-collar terror network, a gang of radicalized doctors that were taken into custody in connection with a terror module. One of those doctors, Dr. Omar Mohammed, in the I-20, in which the explosions were set off in the Red Fort area right next to the Lal Killa metro station. Shocking new details are emerging, including a female doctor who has been taken into custody. Officials have told us that they believe that Dr. Omar Mohammed may not have been a suicide bomber as was initially speculated, but he was certainly part of the terror network that went into panic after the police was able to bust the terror module in Faridabad on the outskirts of Delhi, and perhaps this panic led him to move the explosives. Remember, the police had busted a terror module and nabbed hundreds of kilos of explosives. So it's important to say that while the blast in the Red Fort area is dastardly, the police, in particular the Jammu and Kashmir police, may have averted something much more sinister. I'm Barkha Dutt. You're with the Mojo story. New CCTV footage has shown the precise impact of the blast explosion. This even as the Prime Minister has met with those injured in the Delhi Red Fort blast. You can see those images on your screen. Home Minister Amit Shah has said that those responsible for this blast will face the full wrath of India's agencies. The Prime Minister has also spoken about bringing those responsible for this conspiracy to justice. Conspiracy is the word used by him. We are clearly looking at what investigators are calling a white-collar terror network, highly educated network, a gang of doctors who used the social networking app Telegram to pass encrypted messages to each other. Several of those doctors were taken into custody as the J&K police and the Haryana police in a joint operation cracked down on a terror module in Faridabad. But one of those doctors, Omar Mohammed, is now identified to be the key suspect, the man in the I-20 in which the explosion took place. A man also believed to have been triggered by panic after the terror module was exposed by the police. There's a lot to talk about. Kashmir and Pulwama are back in the news for all the wrong reasons. There is a renewed look at the terror ecosystem in the Kashmir Valley. And of course, there are questions about what happens next and how India and the government might respond. I want to introduce two very, very distinguished and experienced gentlemen, our experts on the program today. Neeraj Kumar is with us, the former Delhi Police Commissioner, who has had years of experience in battling the kind of situations we're seeing today. And also joining us is Lieutenant General Tiny Dhillon. I call him Tiny Dhillon, like his friends do, but he's, of course, Lieutenant General KJS Dhillon. He's a military veteran. He's a prolific author, and he has, of course, led from the front in the Kashmir Valley. It's a pleasure to have you with us, sir. Thank you very much. For anybody who may have missed it, I'm just going to play out a very brief clip, how people were startled by the force of this explosion, how dire things could have been, how the police has probably stopped something much more sinister. This is what happened at the precise moment of the explosion. Listen in.
भाई भागो भागो
a conflict zone-like feeling in the heart of the national capital. The Prime Minister has met with the injured in the hospital, and of course, a Cabinet Committee on Security meeting is scheduled for today. Both the Prime Minister and the Home Minister have made statements about bringing those responsible for this to justice. The word used by the Prime Minister has been conspiracy. The phrase used by the Home Minister is the full wrath of agencies. Now, before I get General Dhillon and Neeraj Kumar, sir, into the conversation, it is important to say that this all began when an alert SHO in the Kashmir Valley saw posters of the Jaish-e-Mohammed up in an area called Nogam. He got suspicious. The J&K police then started investigating. This led to the unraveling of what we now know as the Faridabad terror module. Umar Mohammed is believed to be a part of this module, possibly panicked about being caught, was trying to move the explosives. This is what officials are saying right now. General Dhillon, I'll start with you. With all of your experience, you've seen some of the most volatile years in the Kashmir Valley. The Kashmir white-collar network of terror is back. These are doctors. These are, highly educated terrorists who have been using apps like Telegram to communicate with each other. What do you make of this white-collar terror that has returned to haunt the valley and haunt the country?
Good day, ma'am, and good day to Neeraj sir and your viewers. First of all, today the world is passing through a phase which is seeing the changing face of terrorism. World over, the white-collar terrorist, may it be ISIS or any other terrorist group, it's becoming more of a norm because the stereotypes are easy to identify and home on by the security agencies and the police forces.
Yeah.
Now, taking you a little back, when the terrorism started in Kashmir in 1988-89, the religion was the basis for radicalization as also for motivating someone to pick up the arms. And that is when the names like, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Harkatul Ansar, Lashkar-e-Toiba, and all those names which basically aligned with the religion or history of religion. Now, when the world started seeing it as a terror organization or a religion started getting a name aligned to the terror, they wanted to change the theme. All the bank accounts were getting seized and everyone was looking at terror with a particular religion. And that is when the names like the Resistance Front, the People's Against Fascist Front, the names started emerging, which looked as if it's an internal uprising. It's a movement against some very, very brutal rule. So that's when Lashkar-e-Toiba became the Resistance Front. The Jaish-e-Mohammed started calling it People's Action Against Fascist Front, PAFF. And now, with all the religion-based identities being again assigned to the terror groups, the white-collar terrorist who can pass off as a doctor, as an educated person from a good family, good background, a very noble profession. And these are the new faces which we have to be careful. And as Neeraj sir will agree with me, this is the most difficult part for the security agencies. To nabbing a person who is visibly, has a stereotype of a look or a background is easy. But when you are confronted with such like individuals who are radicalized to the hilt, but they pose as a very decent citizens of the society, the security agency's job becomes that much more difficult.
That's a very important point that you've made, that there is a cover, or I might say a camouflage of so-called social and economic respectability. You're seeing on your screen some of the doctors, the police say, very actively turned to terrorism. There is also a woman doctor. I must mention her name, Shaheen Shahid. She's in fact somebody whom investigators believe went from being a doctor to a recruiter of women into the Jaish-e-Mohammed. And so this is the kind of situation that we're now looking at when we talk about a white-collar network. Neeraj Kumar, as General Dhillon just mentioned, what do you make of this? When he says that this makes the job of police, law enforcement very difficult because they they hide behind the camouflage of education, social capital, social respectability, university jobs. You now have the Al Falah University in Faridabad under the scanner. You have a woman basically being accused of trying to actively recruit women into an underground network of the Jaish-e-Mohammed in India. Very concerning. Neeraj Kumar, sir.
Yeah, that is exactly true. But let us look at it slightly differently. It is not as if a doctor or as if a professional has become a party to a big terror plot for the first time. If you go back in history, Ahle Hadith, which was responsible for the serial train blast cases on the first anniversary of the Babri Masjid demolition, was headed by a person called Dr. Jali Ansari. If you talk about Yaqub Memon, he was a chartered accountant, and so on and so forth. Most terror groups have had a good mix of what we might call a white collar element and a blue collar element. The foot soldiers were usually blue collar. However, what is unique about this module is that almost all of them are medical professionals. This is really unique, and I think it must be unique in the history of world terrorism. This is perhaps for the first time that the person at the top and the person at the bottom are from the same profession, and they are professionals. They are educated people, enlightened people, and it remains to be seen what really motivated them to come together and cause this blast.
This is a very important and interesting point, and I'll get General Dhillon to respond to it. Possibly the only terror module of its kind. Neeraj Kumar, if you want to just elaborate on that, you say it's not the first time that educated people have turned to terrorism, but this entire module seems to be centered in the medical profession, right down to, by the way, an imam who used to work at the government medical college in Srinagar, and then has become a kind of ideological linchpin of this entire terror module, according to the police. Neeraj first, and then General Dhillon.
So that is exactly what I was saying, that it's a rather unique thing that we are seeing on this occasion, that what unites all of them is not religion. What unites them is not a certain ideology. What unites them and brings them all together is the pursuit of a certain profession, which is the medical profession. The linchpin, as you rightly called the person, was he was not a doctor, but he was connected with the medical profession, and it was he who brought all of them together. And his people who had passed from under his wings were spread all over Saharanpur or Faridabad and so on. So this is very unique, and doctors, as was rightly pointed out by General Dhillon, that they are meant to save lives, they are meant to protect lives, and they are resorting to terror. It is really something which is quite worrisome.
And General Dhillon, even as you react to this, I know that you have been warning since yesterday that this may not be the end. There may be more to this, and citizens have to be extremely alert. We now have reports coming in that the police has said that they are looking for a second car. This is a very important piece of information I would like to share here. There is a second car that is being searched for. It is a red color Ford EcoSport car, following investigations that have revealed that the suspects had another car in addition to the I-20. So there is now a second car. We have to hope that there are no explosives in that car, but there could be other suspects. And General Dhillon, I know you've been saying this since yesterday, that this may not be over. Citizens have to be, extremely alert. And I want you to talk about this piece of news also, Neeraj Kumar, that a second car is now being looked for, according to reports just coming in.
Ma'am, when I say that what has been captured or seized, the 2,900 kgs of explosive ammonium nitrate, 20 detonators and 24 remote control units. When 20 detonators, 24 remote control units, and nearly 3,000 kgs of low explosive or ammonium nitrate, it has the capability to fabricate minimum 20 separate bombs or 20
20,
separate.
20 separate bombs.
Yes, because 20 detonators are there, 24 remote control units are there. That means the capability to fabricate 20 separate IEDs or bombs out of this material only is possible. And if this is one cache which has been caught, we can never rule out another cache or another module or a sub-module operating nearby or in the same area. And why I say this? Pulwama ID blast happened on 14th of February 2019, a car-based suicide bomber where we lost 40 CRPF brevards. 14th February this happened, and 24th of February, the same year, after 10 days, we, the security forces in the valley, sort of eliminated another module where the car was ready, the suicide bomber was ready. He had already made a video similar to what was done on 14th February car blast, and we even released that video to media. And 24th of February, Pulwama 2 was going to happen in 2019, which the alert intelligence agencies and security forces averted it and eliminated that module. So when I say that don't be rest assured that all is over, the citizens must be very aware. There may be another, now that you just brought in this news of red Ford EcoSport car, there may be some portion of explosives or the module or some people who are still in the environment and who can act or who can target some place. The only thing which I want to again put through your channel is, ma'am, when you rent out a property, any citizen who rents out his property, it is your responsibility to see as to what your tenant is doing, what time is he coming, what time is he going. If he is just coming and putting some boxes in that room and then not returning for 20 days, you need to be alarmed. You need to go and tell the police that there is some suspicious activity. And before you rent out a property, please get the proper verification done through police. Yeah. This is very important. Every citizen must act as a soldier without uniform. Then only we can avoid such incidents. And this EcoSport car incident, which you just said, I only hope the security forces and the police forces and the investigating agencies get hold of it in time before a major incident like what happened in Red Fort, that happens.
I want Neeraj Kumar sir also to respond to this. Again, we now have reports that the police is looking for a second car, a red Ford EcoSport car. They believe that the suspects, there may have been more suspects and a second car. And General Dhillon is saying, don't be so quick to reach the conclusion that this is over. There could yet be more explosives out there. How do you reconcile this development with officials suggesting that this particular Omar Mohammed may have been triggered by panic after the terror module was busted in Faridabad, may have been trying to move the explosives? Because a lot of things don't add up. And I want to ask both of you this. Don't add up, meaning we don't have the information. I'm sure the information exists, but to the lay person, some bits are missing. We know Omar Mohammed parked his car near the Red Fort for 3 hours. So if he accidentally got triggered by panic, why did he target a crowded area? But officials believe that he was not planning to be a suicide bomber. He was maybe trying to move the explosives because he felt he would be caught. Now we have reports, Neeraj Kumar, that there is a second car that the police is looking for. How do you react to this development? And as General Dhillon says, citizens have to be very alert. There could be more explosives out there. Mr. Kumar.
First of all, Barkha, I am in full agreement with General Dhillon that the recovery of that amount of explosive and the recovery of those numbers of detonators and remote devices indicate that the idea was not just one car bomb. The idea must have been a series of blasts to be carried out at different locations. It is reminiscent of the serial blasts of Mumbai, in 1993, where easily 10 blasts took place. And here again, with that kind of explosive material, and those numbers of detonators, etc., we could have had double those numbers. In Bombay, it was 10. Here, it could easily have been 20 or more with that amount of explosive material that was found, and those number of detonators, etc. So one thing is for certain. This is my conclusion that
Yeah.
it was not only one car bomb that was planned or one bomb that was planned, but many more. And it was going to be a serial blast that have been averted thanks to the alert SHO of Kashmir and thanks to the quick follow-up of other state police forces. So we have to be grateful for that. The second thing is that whether or not it was an accident, that would, I think it would be premature to come to any conclusion unless the investigation progresses a little more or is completed. Because so many things need to be picked up and the dots joined all over the place. And it is only then that we can come to any firm conclusion. What exactly was happening? Whether just one person, was there only one person in the car, or were there three? If there were three, the likelihood of an accidental car bomb goes up. If there was only one, then perhaps we can consider that it was a suicide case of suicide bombing. But it will all depend upon how the investigation progresses and what all come to light. So it would be only surmising and theorizing if we come to any conclusions as yet.
And also, Mr. Kumar, at the heart of it, whether this chap was a suicide bomber or not, it is in a way not material, because the fact is that he was certainly in a car with explosives. And whether he triggered those explosives accidentally in panic to kill himself and kill others, the fact is he's part of a terror network by all available information from the police. Would you agree that in a way we should not get lost in this debate over whether he was a suicide bomber or not, Mr. Kumar?
Absolutely. This, we should wait for the investigations to come to a conclusion, and it's only then that we'll come to know what exactly happened. And as we discussed yesterday, and I mentioned it a little time back, that whether there was only one person in the car or three people in the car, that is also not clear. So, so many things need to be unraveled, discovered, investigated, and only then we can come to any firm conclusions.
General Dhillon, I want to bring you in on the fact that there might be another car, more suspects, more explosives, though we hope not, out there. What would be the priority in the immediate of security agencies?
Ma'am, first of all, the security agencies, I'm sure, are already at it. The intelligence agencies are already at it. The probe is now with the NIA, which is a central agency. But here, I would like to go back a little again on the 10th morning, or to the 10th morning. When this lead, the alert SHO in Kashmir or whatever happened, and when this leads came down to Faridabad, and this module was busted, and this material was seized, and these people were apprehended. Ma'am, I don't know why there was such a big rush to go to the press and give out the details. Okay, we apprehended so and so, so and so, so and so, when everyone in the net was not still apprehended, or we were not very sure whether we have seized the complete explosive material or not.
Yeah.
This in turn alerted the doctor who died in this car bomb. This alerted probably the other people who are still on the run, and this may have alerted the people to shift the material from other hideout if it is there somewhere. Now, once a thing like this has happened, you have apprehended few people, you have seized the material. Thereafterwards, based on the apprehensions and the laptops and the mobile phones seized, there is a technical intelligence, there is electronic intelligence, there is a social media intelligence, there is a signal intelligence, there is a human intelligence, and there is interrogation. All these club together collaborated. Then they would give out the links to these people who were in touch with them, either on phone or WhatsApp or Telegram channel, or through other apps which would be there on their mobiles and laptops. And
Yeah.
then they can home on to these chaps, even if the doctor was moving. Police has the wherewithal to nab him with the lat longs exactly known. Once the complete module was apprehended and any other cache of equipment or ammunition was also seized, I think it would have been good if the security agencies or the police forces had gone to the media post that. I think that
Yeah.
was premature and that alerted these chaps, and that is the reason we are discussing what if, anything more. I think we
Yeah.
wouldn't have been discussing this if it was done little more deliberately.
I think this is a very important point, and I want Neeraj Kumar to respond to it, because even yesterday I was asking you, sir, did the police? So, firstly, hat tip to the JNK SHO, the JNK police, for uncovering this plot. No doubt that they have stopped something much more sinister with the crackdown, with the catching of the explosives, with the arrest of the doctors. But I think General Dhillon raises a question that is on the minds of many people. If everyone in the module was not apprehended, as is clear, now they're looking for a second car. Now there is, Omar Mohammed may have been panicked or may have been a suicide bomber, whatever. If everyone had not been caught, what was the need to go to the press? What was the need to go public? You believe the police was okay or probably wise in going public. Would you still think that with the benefit of what we know so far? Or what we now know?
Barkha, much can be said on both the sides.
Yeah.
While I fully agree with General Dhillon that if we had kept quiet and if we had kept it secret, perhaps this explosion could have been averted and Dr. Umar could have been stopped in his tracks and so on. But you are in the media, Barkha,
Yeah.
and I have been a practicing police officer. In today's day and time, to carry out a search in a public place and to keep it a secret, you arrest people. As soon as you arrest, bring somebody to the police station, and you have to observe all the formalities laid down by the law and laid down by various courts. Things go public in such a quick time.
But you don't have to share the details. You don't have to say we have found 2,900 kilos or hundreds of kilos of explosives. This is a terror module. It was targeting Delhi. You can say we've made some arrests. It is an operational thing. More details later. It's a national security issue. Khatam. Nobody will say, abhi batao. And if they say, they should, they are not journalists.
I fully agree with you. But look at it the other way. By making something like this public, you're also alerting people that you have seized so much of explosives, so many people. Perhaps there is need to be alert, and all of you better look out. So it works. It works both ways. It works in making people aware, and it works in enforcing preventive steps. And the other way is, of course, what General Dhillon said, that you keep it as much of a secret as possible and allow the entire operation to be completed. Surely, if somebody, the general tendency, Barkha, you would agree with me, with colleagues, is that immediately they want to, speak to the press and claim credit for the recovery of these this amount of explosives and so on. So that those tendencies are also there, and at the various levels, the awareness, that kind of awareness is not there. So I'm not surprised that this went public, but yes, in hindsight, perhaps if we had kept quiet, as quiet as possible, it may have helped.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially since we now know that there could be a second car out there. And also that this terrorist, alleged terrorist, the key suspect, Omar Mohammed, may have been panic-stricken that, his end was coming. And therefore, he was trying to move explosives or get away, or maybe he triggered the blast. I want to, in the end, talk about what happens now, what happened next. General Dhillon, I want to come to you. A lot of people may not remember that one of the most successful and moving programs that you ran in the Kashmir Valley when you were in charge was Operation Ma. And you were asking mothers in the Kashmir Valley to ask their sons who had picked up the gun to put their guns down and surrender and come back and in a way try and rebuild their lives. When you see this sort of terror network re-emerge in Kashmir, do you feel very disheartened? What concerns you? What should we be thinking about when it comes to the Kashmir overground worker? That ecosystem is still quite operational, it's still quite active. What are the first few things that are going through your mind with all your experience in the Kashmir Valley?
Ma'am, first of all, in the Kashmir Valley, the common person now is yearning for peace. The common awam has tasted the peace and the stakes with which it comes and the results of peace. मैम, जिसके घर में सिर्फ लाश आती थी उसके बच्चे की, अभी उसका बच्चा सुमो चला रहा है, जहाँ गाइड है, जहाँ किसी होटल में काम कर रहा है, शाम को 2,000 रुपए लेके आ रहा है, घर में अच्छे से रोटी पक रही है. जिसका बच्चा स्कूल नहीं जा पाता था बिकॉज 280 days देयर यूज्ड टू बी हड़ताल, आज उसका बच्चा पूरा साल स्कूल जा रहा है और अच्छी एजुकेशन हासिल कर रहा है. फॉर अ पेरेंट और फॉर अ मदर फॉर दैट मैटर, सिंस यू टॉक्ड अबाउट ऑपरेशन मा, for a mother, most important thing is her child should get good education so that he can have a good career in future. And moment that happens, the mother is the most happiest person in the family. And as we all know, in every family, mother has a very central and pivotal role. But in Kashmiri society, mother is very, very important person in the family. The mother decides how the family will go. So coming back to your question proper, ma'am, these are one of incidents which have happened after, especially after 2019 abrogation Article 370, the way the peace returned, which was sort of hit by Pahalgam attacks. Otherwise, that was first time after Pahalgam attacks, the Kashmiris came on the roads in support of Indian government, shouting slogans against terrorism and Pakistan. It had never happened. You covered Kashmir so extensively. Never ever in the Kashmir's history, locals have come out publicly in support of the Indian government on camera. So that was the change which has happened. And never has it happened that Kashmir schools have remained open throughout the year. That is happening now. So there is a lot. The number of tourists are there, the number of yatris who are there, the amount of cash which is being dispensed from the ATMs is an indicator of the economy, the way it is flourishing. Because as you know, Kashmir, mostly the transactions are in cash. And all these things are indicative of only one thing. The peace in Kashmir is irreversible. And adding to this, although this module has its roots in Pulwama, when I visited Kashmir, I was told, in a district as infamous for terrorism as Pulwama, for last more than 2 years, not a single local boy has picked up a weapon in the district Pulwama. Now that is the new Kashmir. And I'm sure the peace will continue, and economy drives peace. Security forces can only bring down the violence level to a particular level. From where onwards, the politicians, the governments can take on. And in the end, the economy will drive peace. जिसके घर में रोटी बननी शुरू हो जाएगी, वो माँ अपने बच्चे को पत्थर फेंकने के लिए जाने नहीं देगी, और वो बच्चा कल को टेररिस्ट बन के किसी एनकाउंटर में मारा नहीं जाएगा.
That's, I do very much hope that the peace that has been, that has come to a very sort of fragile valley, as you say, prevails despite what has happened with this terror module finding its roots in the Kashmir Valley. Neeraj Kumar, if I may ask you, what will be the police's priority right now? I imagine it will be to find the second car, if there is a second car.
Yes, second car, finding the second car, and finding all other forward linkages, on the basis of the various interrogations that have already taken place and are likely to take place in the future, to get to the bottom of the entire conspiracy. Who were the people? And most importantly, as we discussed yesterday, are there any linkages to Pakistan? Are there any linkages? Is there a conspiracy angle? And if those linkages are there, For how long has all this gone on, this indoctrination? Who are the people who have invested in this whole project? From where did the ammonium nitrate come?
Yeah.
From where did the AK come? And so there's a lot of work to be done, and a lot of follow-up, action to be taken. Lot of forensic work to be done to arrive at concrete conclusions, specifics. Like the basic issues, whether it was an accidental car bomb or was it a deliberate explosion, where there only one person or more than one person, and so on and so forth. So many questions remain unanswered, and I'm sure by now, even though they are not in public domain, a lot of things have already been achieved, a lot of information has already been gathered, but the possibilities are immense. The scope of this investigation is quite huge. Quite huge.
Absolutely. Sharon Dhillon, I'll give you the last word. You are, of course, the author of a highly read, highly widely quoted book on Operation Sindoor, a bestseller book. We are in the year of Operation Sindoor, and India's new security doctrine was that an act of terrorism will be considered an act of war. Sindoor has not yet been declared over. Neeraj Kumar points out that investigators will be looking at whether there is a Pakistani link or not. But one thing that is already notable is that all of the neighboring countries of India have expressed their condolences. Pakistan has not. Just making that observation. On Pakistan, Neeraj Kumar says investigators will be looking at those linkages, especially is there a Jaish link or not. I want you to take the last word on that dimension.
Ma'am, I agree with Mr. Neeraj Kumar totally that investigators as of now are also looking at all the linkages, and as and when the confirmed proof and evidence or the links are available, I think that is when the responsible people will come out with it. Now, coming back to the point of Jaish-e-Mohammed. Ma'am, there is a Jaish-e-Mohammed written all over this terror attack. Pulwama ID blast, the suicide car bomb, the car had exchanged 7 to 8 hands. This particular car, which got blown up near the Red Fort other day, had also exchanged a number of hands, some Nami, some Benami, some, which were recorded in the record, some which were not recorded. And the car bomb, again, the specialty of Jaish-e-Mohammed. Improvised explosive device, again, the specialty of Jaish-e-Mohammed. And as the initial reports which are available in the open domain suggest, the module is Jaish-e-Mohammed, and it is being operated from Pakistan. Now, having said that, I again would like to say, as you said, the doctrine today is any act of terror will be seen as act of war. And I'm very sure this is how the Indian government will look at it. But before we close, or in case there's any other question, we'll answer that. Before we go away, I would like to again, through a channel, once again request the citizens to be alert. Respect all, suspect all. Because you never know who is roaming around with what intentions. We just had the doctors, the noblest of professions, indulging in the most heinous of crimes. So as citizens, it's our responsibility to be alert, for not only for our own sake or our family's sake, our neighborhood sake, and national security sake. So please respect all, but suspect all.
Well, that has to be the line of the day. Respect all, but suspect all. If doctors whom we look towards to saving lives can actually turn to the people who start taking lives, I think that says everything. The fact is that there are now reports of a second car out there that the police is looking for. General Dhillon had warned that this might be the case. Neeraj Kumar has stressed that we need a lot more information, which I'm sure the police is seeking. SIM cards, number of detonators. Again, a chilling fact. That the explosives that were recovered could have been enough to cause 20 separate, create 20 separate bombs. And as both our experts have said today, the idea may well have been, in fact, to trigger a series of blasts, not just the one that we saw in Delhi. So respect all, suspect all. And on that note, I will say thank you, learn a lot from both of you, great respect for both of you and everything you have done for the security of our nation. Thank you so much to Neeraj Kumar and to General Tiny Dhillon. Always a pleasure. Thank you, sir. Take care. Bye.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.